Hello, welcome to 510 week number 4. So this week's really straightforward. We look at maintaining work-life balance, self-leadership, and growing from challenges. Those are the themes this week, and you're going to find out in our discussion board and various videos you're going to watch kind of what those things mean. The idea of self-leadership is actually from your discussion board posts, looking at a TED Talk about how to make work-life balance work. So in this, you're going to see that leadership is not necessarily like what you would imagine in a movie, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, where it's not necessarily you being like, you do this, you do that, or you in a faculty meeting with you standing up, talking for an hour and a half while everyone has to, just patiently wait for you to stop talking. None of those things. That actually the idea of self-leadership is self-reflection, self-awareness, self-regulation. In a lot of ways, it's what the work you would be doing in therapy is, right? Like really working on yourself and thinking about what you can do. And this really builds on what we've been talking about the last 3 weeks about not just being there saying, do this, but really being there to support, to coach, to work on yourself, and then you can show up better in a way. And the ultimate goal of this is really by investing time in ourselves. The idea is to be able to navigate people, power, and time more effectively. So with that, let's move on to your assignment, your signature assignment for 510. You're going to be interviewing a leader, talking about kind of all of the themes. So just a few tips that are going to make this go better than worse. So in general, when you're interviewing someone for something like this, you want to keep it pretty short, about half an hour maximum. I would imagine you'd need at least 10 minutes. You'd struggle to write your paper with a 10-minute interview. Anything more than 30 doesn't necessarily respect their time and is going to give you just a lot of stuff. So try and find that sweet spot of maybe like 20 to 30 minutes for an interview. And maybe you're blocking half an hour of time, 5 minutes before and after to hang out, and then like a solid 20 minutes of interview. So with that, you really want open-ended questions. My favorite way to have conversations like this is tell me about a time when, or if they say something kind of abstract, be like, tell me a story of when that happened. Can you think about a time when this happened in your school, in your nonprofit? Really trying to get at them to tell stories and not just say a general thing, right? We're getting away from general philosophies. And then either you're taking brief notes as you go, you're recording it, if it's in person, like with voice memos, or you're hopping on a Zoom call, you can just record that, and then you can grab a transcript from that. There's dozens, if not hundreds of places that will give you audio to text transcript, including summaries. The great thing is that a lot of those, like Otter AI comes to mind, the free version caps you at 30 minutes. So if your recording is more than 30 minutes, it should not be. If it is, then you can't use that feature unless you're paying for it. So keep it shorter. It will serve you well with that. For people to interview, obvious things are like school administrators, instructional leaders, but it could also be just like a teacher. You're like, that teacher is rad. Let me talk with them. And that really might open up their eyes of being seen as a leader in the space in a way they might not otherwise have looked at themselves as. Could be anyone else, even just like coaches. If you know any veterans, talk with them. And even just like community leaders, nonprofit leaders. If you have any other professional organizations you're a member of, whether it's like CUE or I guess Cali, ISTE, Namely, any of these places, you can reach out to them to be like, hey, like I'd love to talk with whomever you've seen like a webinar for, to talk with you about kind of your style. If there's an author, a book you like, you can tell like is not Penguin Random House, but is like somebody that's really like working to share what they want to share in education, reach out to them, and grab like 20 minutes of their time. Those are my tips for that. This week you have that assignment. That's the big one. Make sure when you're doing this that it is APA formatted. You're not doing a Q&A. I asked this, you answered that. No. Make sure you're having the citations. Look at your rubric to make sure you're checking all the boxes with that and that you're following what the assignment is asking for. It's really straightforward. Let's see, we talked about that and that. I'm looking at the tabs to make sure we covered everything. And then the other things we have this week is just you're going to continue your reading, and then there's a couple of videos to watch this week. So not as much read the stuff on our Canvas page for the week, but watch these couple things and continue reading with your book. And that is all for this week. If you have any other questions, please reach out. Otherwise, looking forward to what you share as you interview your leader person. And happy week for everybody.